Hello, hello, hello. My name is Joe.
And I'm Jordan.
And this is Double Trouble Features. Ooh, I like that one.
Not the classic.
A little pop
classic,
in there.
yeah.
Ooh,
Yes.
ooh, that made my butthole pop. Anyways, welcome to the weekly podcast where we talk about all things movies, television, entertainment, and just what's on these damn screens.
All these screens. And you know what was on our screens on Monday?
August 19th.
The Love Island reunion.
Oh, it was beautiful, but I have some thoughts.
Oh, we got some thoughts. We're going to talk about that. And then we got a little dark also. We're going to talk about the movie that we definitely both seen, Alien Romulus. And we're going to talk about some comfort shows, guys.
Yeah.
This week, it's been a little bit rainy, a little drizzly. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite comfort shows. Tell us in the comments. Tell us, what's your favorite comfort show? And please, like, subscribe, follow us wherever you listen to our podcast or on YouTube. All right, Joe, I'm just going to be honest. Okay, on page 4, okay, what would you give this Love Island reunion?
You know, I'm kind of torn. I would give it a good 7. I'd watch it again.
You gave it a 7?
I'd watch it again. Once.
A 7?
I thought it was fun.
Oh, okay.
We did not get... No, I said I was torn. Hold on.
Okay.
I said I was
We're
torn.
going to talk today.
I said I was torn. So for me, just in general, in synopsis, like my overarching feelings about it are... They could have gone way harder. They could have done more. I think they went way too hard in some spots where they shouldn't have. Speaking specifically with, I think you know what I'm talking about. We'll get into it, but I personally feel that like they could have done more. I don't know why the fuck any of the Casa people were there or half of the bombshells. Like
that and see that. Okay, so I give it a solid 5.
Okay.
I give it. It is
just split the difference. Call it a
yeah.
6.
I think this show, I got a couple answers that I wanted.
Yes.
I got something hashed out that I didn't care about that took way too long.
Yes.
And then biggest thing, like you said, was a lot of people didn't get their time.
No.
But there is one glaring thing I do want to talk about. The sponsorships.
Girl, Pizza Hut paid a lot of money for that shit.
You know what? Hey, shout out Pizza Hut. I grew up on Pizza Hut.
And I'm not going to lie. I was sitting there watching that and I was like,
damn, I want a pizza.
I was like, I kind of want some Pizza Hut right now. Like, it's kind of working. And I'm so mad. I tried to push my clients onto Love Island so hard and they were all just like, I don't get it. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know how to make you understand.
You don't get it, but
marketing.
Guess what? They're sponsored by Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
And Coffee Mate.
And they got great coverage. Yes. Like, I'm sure those little brand people, you did your thing. Good for you.
Yes.
I'm so glad you could convince your bosses.
Yeah. So I truly do think the reason why they brought, so again, if you don't know, Love Island had their own reunion, and they brought 25 people back. And when I tell you, I think only 7 or 8 people talked. It was like, why is everybody here? And I really think it was just for the sponsors, for them to eat pizza and wings. And
what's crazy is like they kicked it off, and it was just like immediately Coy starts apologizing, and I was like, I didn't even know Coy was in the public. Like, why this made the edit?
So Coy's been talking. So let's talk about that. So Coy has been talking a little shit on Janae and Kenny, and I don't know if Janae really received it. I think Kitty was like, thank you, like actually like being genuine. Yeah. And I really do think Coy was genuinely being like, hey, I actually am sorry. And I do want to apologize on national TV that I am sorry.
I do think it was a genuine apology. Yes. I just found it so strange that that's what made the edit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Because everyone's just like, the fuck is Coy? What? Coy, you went home like after day 3. No one has thought about you since.
No.
I like, you were a fine piece of man, but like, good God, nobody cared. And I don't understand why I made it.
So I'm glad Coy got that time, even though Janae was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care. But like Kitty did receive it. I'm not going to lie. After this reunion, I think my number one couple is Kitty and Janae.
I've been saying this.
I know you've been saying this. But I really just think it's because near the end, Kenny finally came out of his shell.
They're just
And then I've seen how they've acted after the show. And I'm just like, Kenny, like, again, Janae is a queen. Janae is fine as hell. Janae is all Janae. But I think Janae, once she got comfortable really into her relationship, plus with the girls, she started to be way more fun towards the end. And her and Kenny are actually just a great match. And yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's a very, I think that they just like their energies and their personalities just mesh really well. I think she's a princess. He gives me like mama's boy tendencies.
Yes.
And so like, I think that goes well together and they complement each other very well. I think that's one of the biggest things with a relationship and these couples is seeing like who compliments you, which is why I think a lot of these couples, when they like have gotten out of it, they're realizing that like, this person isn't complimenting me. They're not making me the person I want to be, which is why we watch these reality love shows. Like, it shows like different things of like what you want into a relationship, what you see, and what you want projected. Like, I've been projecting on Kenny and Janae all day because I'm Janae and I'm looking for my Kenny.
But speaking of complimenting couples, the one that didn't work out is Kendall and Nicole.
Well, that's not the only one that didn't work out.
But, I mean, facts.
Like, I was like, the one that didn't work out, I was like, I don't know who he's going to say because...
All right, but my whole thing is...
No, Nicole played in his face. That was fucked up.
Nicole, okay. I'm not saying that it's okay for Kendall to lie to her. Okay? No, I don't think anybody's like saying...
Nobody's saying it's okay, but in the context of this very specific
the
scenario...
most embarrassing thing ever... Fuck, I was like straight up I told my wife, I was like, in a heartbeat, I would have lied to you. In a heartbeat, I would have been like, there's no way I would just be like, yeah, the second I got to Fiji, I just spread cheeks and showed asshole to a rando.
Because I was bored, which like, I'm not saying we've all done it, but some of us have, and it's probably a lot more than you think. But what I'm saying, like, oh, if I ever got famous, like, I don't even want to know what's gonna pop up. Like, I will be firmly just like, I'll be like, but that's the thing is like, in that scenario, like that sucked, especially like what the video was.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people at the reunion didn't want to talk about it and they were gonna just not broach the subject. But Nicole came almost like with an agenda.
No, Nicole wanted to talk about
like,
it.
because that's the thing is like she went radio silent for so long, which this is the part that I think it's crazy. Letting these people out into the wild and then having the reunion a month later.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Perfect, crazy, wish it was live. And wish it was 5 hours. Like, we should have gotten into all of it. I wanted to know what Sierra was going on, like all that stuff. Like,
but going back to the Kendall, like you could tell Kendall was like, because there really wasn't that much communication between those two, and like Kendall was like shaking. Like trying to broach and talk about this subject.
And you could tell that he just like it. I mean, he's still going through it. That only happened a month ago. And the world, like I saw the video, like the world saw it. And like, if you didn't want the world to see it, that's embarrassing. And that sucks. No, and like it's and a crime.
And I think
most importantly, it's a crime.
I think kudos to Kendall for going out and still doing shit. Because if that happened to me, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. And so I understand Nicole got a little flack here and there, not like supporting her man or whatever like that. But like, bro, is that what you're going to break up over?
See, and I don't think there's anything that she could have done, to be honest. And I hate to say that, like, I don't think she ever really liked him. And I think this was just her
If
way
it was
out.
that flimsy, yes, I agree with you.
Because she looked at everyone like they were going to come to her, rush and her. They're like, well, he lied. And even Janae was like, girl, I don't play with lying. I don't fuck with liars. But she's like, but in the context of this situation, I would hear him out and probably forgive him.
Yes.
And then even Serena was like, I don't fuck with liars. I get what everyone's saying. I don't fuck with liars. I don't like them. But obviously,
Serena was kind of Team Nicole though.
She was Team Nicole.
She was Team Nicole.
But at the end of she was like, but obviously at the end of the day, I still give a second chance.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. Everybody around the entire cast was like, no, we're all on Kendall's side.
And that's the thing. She kept trying to make it about herself.
Yes, and it's
when
like
the situation is not just
it's
about
not
you.
about you.
Like, it's really not. Like, I get it, Nicole, that you are upset that this has affected you in many ways, and that sucks. But like, this happened to him. And did he lie about it? Sure. But he explained it to you in front of a live fucking studio audience. Like, we saw that shit happen. And like, if any man like just like laid himself at my feet like that on national television, I'd have to marry him tomorrow. But like,
so why do you think they broke up?
I think they broke up because Kendall realized that she doesn't support him. And I don't think, this is what I was talking about, complimenting each other. I think he realized that like she didn't compliment him in a certain way, that like he really needed it and he needed support. And he realized real quick and learned real quick that she was not the one to give it.
Yeah, because I think they recorded I think 5 days before it aired on Monday. And then they broke up, I think, either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, after it aired.
Yeah. And so I think it really was just a moment of like, damn, I was down. Because, like, again, all he wants is he wants her.
I think
he wants Nicole.
I think he was head over heels for her.
100%. But then once it aired and then people kind of like, everybody was out, he was just like, bro, she doesn't. She's not willing to support me and help me through this.
No,
she's not willing to go out bad for me. And you know what? I don't need this.
And then again, I'm sitting here saying, I'm like, that's the biggest thing is Nicole. It's not. I mean, if you're his girlfriend, like it is, like you are supposed to support him and all that. If you don't want to do that, then back the fuck out.
Yes,
like pull the trigger. It's like she wanted him to do it,
bro. It was crazy when she's like, I'm willing to fly you out and everything like that. And he was like, only because of this. I was like, bitch, what? That was it's like but that I think was projecting, and it shows how you're thinking about these things. And I don't want to dig into too much into Nicole, just because like what she went through was also rough, and what she had was like also a shitty situation. And like I could not imagine coming out of Love Island with a man and that video being shown, and like it's hard.
It's a rough situation. Like they got thrown to the fires.
But whatever you think is hard, it's 10 times harder for Kendall.
But and then also, and it's like, I don't know how to say this, is like this, like you got smacked with a wake up call real fast. But like those kinds of things don't stop throughout a relationship.
No.
You have to keep going. You have to keep working. Things are going to come up. And you know, like men lie out of fear. Women lie out of either protection or to get what they want. But sometimes what they want is protection. So like it kind of goes in hand. But
that's facts, though.
Like men just lie out of fear. Like they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to do like, and it is what it is. And so like I do think that we have to take some of these things with a grain of salt, is like, especially within that scenario. Like,
yes.
I'm not talking about it. It's like, hey, where were you earlier? And he lies about that. That's not what I'm talking about.
So speaking of lies, the funniest lie of Aaron and fucking Kaylor. That is wild. Okay. And again, I think these two topics, were the peak.
Yes.
And the only things I cared about.
Well, what's funny is I was sitting there and I was like, they were going through each couple and being like, and we have some news. And then Janae goes, I'm pregnant. I was like, oh,
Janae's fun. That
was funny as hell.
That was so funny.
Kenny's face made me think for a second it was real.
No, Kenny's face was like, no.
Yeah, it was like full on a Hunger Games situation.
Yes.
But no, when she said that, but then like the big news was that they are a couple. And then they were like, and Leah and Miguel, what's your big news that they are a couple? And I was like, okay, this is not big news. I think we need to.
We don't care.
Like, and I was like, I'm tired of this nicey shit. Let's get into the good stuff. And then immediately Nicole started yelling, and I was like, oh, because that was like 5 minutes in, and then it moved into
fucking Aaron. All right, I just want to be honest.
I shoved my hand down her pants,
bro. What? And then Kaylor's like, you're doing this now?
Like, well, and that's the fucked up part, is like so I like got into the like tea of it all, and like they like broke up.
Yeah.
And then when they got to New York, she stayed with him because you always got to go back for some closure, and she got hers. Let's just say that. She finally got her closure at the reunion.
That is what, like, but I'm not going to lie. like when Aaron was explaining it. Okay?
These are the lies that aren't okay.
It is 1,000,000% selfish by Aaron. But I get it. He's like, damn, I really enjoyed this. I really just want to hang out and have a good time and just, you know what, not ruin things when we're talking. And then after the show, we're probably never going to see each other unless we both go on to like Love Island games or some shit like that. But I get that. He's just like, I didn't want to tell you because I'm trying to enjoy the moment. But at the same time, why would you just be like, fuck it, let's just do it on national TV?
See, but
that's wild.
But see, then the one thing he did do was give Kaylor a full story arc. Because now she is that bitch, that scorned woman, and everyone can get behind a scorned woman telling a man to go fuck himself. Like when see that, and that's the thing is like, it was a full storyline of them meeting, falling in love, man acts stupid, girl acts stupid, man acts stupid, girl acts stupid, man acts stupid. All right, that's enough. Fuck you.
Yes. But
Taylor's oldest time.
My big thing is, and this is the part where I didn't like the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the open format. Because what happened throughout this entire thing was there's just dominating voices. And it gets to the point where like Liv is now going to interject.
I was hoping you were going to say
and
that.
Like Liv is just going, and again, I know Liv got Kaylor's back, and I know this, but as a moderator, I feel like I really just want to hear, like, let Kaylor pop off. Let Kaylor pop off, and I'm okay if Liv's like, yes, girl, or like something like that, like just supporting. But that doesn't mean like
no. She jumps in and says her piece.
Exactly.
Like half the time I thought Liv was hosting.
Exactly. I'm just like Liv. I'm like Liv. You don't need to talk in the situation.
But that's how I felt half the season was Liv. I mean, put Liv. Liv needs to host some show. I don't care what it is. Australia, get your shit
Liv
together.
is on Love Island Games. There's no way she's not on.
For sure. And now I can't wait. I've never watched Love Island Games, but after this,
I'll watch it. It's
all,
great. It's great. It's way more challenges.
Yeah.
And I love the challenges.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was my biggest problem with the open format, because then what happens is it got muddied. Well, it got really muddied.
It did, but then I feel like there were times where it was like other people's turns to speak, but like they just didn't. Like, why was Hakeem, Nigel never spoke once?
Yeah, like I want to understand. Like, and again, this is why I think the Love is Blind reunion, those moderators are perfect, because they're like, no, like we're going to dive into this. Like we're going to actually understand what was your fucking thought. Like, Aaron, why are you a fuck? Why are you doing this? Why do you think it's okay to treat a woman like that's the shit I wanted to hear. Not just, oh, they're broken up. Oh, he said some shit, and then that's it. Or we're just going to let them all go. Oh, Liv's now talking shit on him. Oh, now we're going to have Leah, Serena. Like, we're going to have just these people jump in.
I do think that one of the reasons they think that they do this is because of legalities, because if contestants are chewing each other out, that's fine. But the second the host gets involved, then the production team becomes liable for whatever happens. And, you know, mental health was a great part of it. Like, you know, the anti-bullying.
Is that emotional distress?
The anti-bullying
if I ask you a
PSA,
question,
it could be portrayed as that. That's the thing, is it's so gray. It would have to go to like arbitration, court of law. Like they would have to like get it down. But you would have a basis for suing if Ariana Madix sat there and be like, so Aaron, why are you for all intents and purposes, like, why are you such a piece of shit? Like, why do you treat women so poorly? That question could be construed as an accusation.
That's why we sign some shit before we do this.
You told me
that's.
But I mean, if we know anything from Kane, obviously these NDAs are not very airtight.
Yeah, Kane said fuck it, and that's why he was not on the reunion.
Well,
I wanted, like, low-key, I wanted Kane on the reunion.
I kind of did too.
Because at least he would have brought something. Because going on to the next part, everybody else didn't talk. Nobody really said anything.
Even the part with Daya, like, they didn't even get into that
shit. We didn't even get into that shit at all. And then Daya's just like, nah, like, you guys are a good relationship. Fuck, like, still kind of fuck Cordell.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, bro, move on. But I think the worst part was the Andrea. Um, here's why I felt like this was the worst part.
Yeah.
It's because I felt like it was 6 against 1.
Yeah.
And like that's what I really had the problem with. And but at the same time, the Andrea situation should not have taken an hour of our time of the entire show.
I didn't need like they were, and here's the thing, a lot of Americans did ask for the full unedited clip.
15 minutes of it?
I didn't exactly. I don't think we asked for that. We wanted to see the majority of it because we didn't see certain parts of it. It was like interesting, but honestly, at the end of the day, it didn't provide any more clarity. I think
It like the thing is, I do think Leah has convinced herself that she was not in the wrong or didn't do anything.
I don't think anyone was in the wrong for anything.
Okay, true. Facts.
That's the biggest thing that I'm having with all of this.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct on that. I just think that she's like, see, I wasn't the one who like suggested this or this when I thought the video clearly did say it. But I think because of that entire situation, we saw that video.
Yeah.
That was about Andrea. Andrea didn't speak after that video. Like, she didn't have a chance because Leah's like, see, look, it wasn't me. I think what happened, I think what is like misconstrued is Liv was the facilitator.
Yeah.
Liv was definitely saying, okay, here's the thing, here are options, and she was weighing in. If you think that's the driver, okay, so be it.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the whole problem with this whole thing is it's all about semantics.
It is.
And
It's all about
it's
semantics.
all about bullshit. It's not about anything. And at the end of the day, they had to choose between two people, and they decided that they liked Nicole more. And I really do think that's what it came down to. I don't think it was about fuck Andrea. I think it was that we like Nicole more.
Yeah.
Like, and I do think that it came down to that. And like, it sucks that fucked up Rob's relationship. But even Leah did say in the thing, she was like, if we do this, he's going to be pissed at me and people are going to think this.
But I'm going to have to fight a little bit back. I really do think Leah was kind of trying to pry that out. Like, because when she said, oh, I think Andrea is only here to like, oh, we're going to get bottle service. We're going to get comp this and comp that. I don't know. That is a clear direct of you think that she's here for the wrong reasons. And you're telling this to try to persuade us to get rid of her instead of Nicole. Like, that to me, fucked. And Andrea.
But Serena also said shit.
Yeah.
That's
but
what
it's
I'm
not Serena though.
That's
no.
That's what I'm saying is like I don't think that Leah's necessarily in the wrong for doing that because Serena also said shit. So like, is Serena also in the wrong? I'm trying to understand where the wrong is.
The wrong is like Leah trying to pretend like, oh, I really didn't want her gone or anything like that.
No, but I think that we covered that.
Exactly. And that's why we did not need all this fucking time about that. Like, I thought the first conversation that they had,
I don't think any of them really wanted Andrea to stay the way they were talking. Like,
no.
I don't think that they.
But Andrea apologizing at the end of all this, I was just like, but
if anyone should apologize, it's Rob. Rob should apologize.
So like, Andrea just apologizing is because she felt fucking ganged up on.
Yeah.
And that's when I think like Ariana Maddox should have been like, hey, like stepped in and said something or.
And what, they're mad at her for going on live? Girl, make your money. She was making money off that. That's what it was. Because if you have so many viewers and so many things and you have interactions, you get money out of that.
Yeah, no.
So like, they're like, when Rob's like, oh, well, I didn't like that she went out. Fuck you.
Yeah, no. That to me was the. And if you really think about it, that's the rest of the show.
Yeah. No, that's it. It ended with that. I don't even know if there was stuff after that.
There was nothing. It was the dumb questions of like, all right, Rob, are you going to retire your overalls? That's not the questions we want. Okay? I want to know, like, Hakeem, how was your time? Like, what did you learn or what's going on after or anything like that? Like, hey, Can you let's talk about that discussion you and Liv had.
That,
let's
no,
talk about that.
Discussion, that fight.
Yes,
that you had. Because I would love to talk about it. Like, I want to know, because we never got any resolutions there.
No, they talk about like Cordell and Serena have their like little moment, and Leah and Miguel have their little moment. But I really I'm not gonna lie, this show, this reunion kind of actually made me go down on Leah because out of everybody, she got the highest following. She got the most. And so I felt like Leah had to insert and be the biggest voice, the loudest voice the entire show.
I felt like she hardly talked at all, except for
Leah did not hardly talk at all.
She would throw a few quips out there, but
no, she talked the most out of the show, out of the whole reunion.
Nicole did.
No, Nicole did not.
I don't
Rewatch it. I don't want you to come back with me.
Okay.
I bet you there's a breakdown of minutes of who talked, and I bet you Leah has the most minutes.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see.
You want to bet dinner on it?
No.
Let's bet dinner on it.
No.
He knows I'm right. So anyway, tell us, what do you guys think about the reunion? Was it a great reunion? Do you wish there was more questions? Any burning questions that you have for the cast? And are you excited for the next Love Island? I am.
I'm excited to see where they go from here, because
they're going to fade out. They're all going to fade out. Hey, shout out Cordell for the Cheez-Its.
Oh, that
shout out
good.
for Cordell.
That was good, Cordell.
Yes.
You got it. He made it happen.
Yes. Dreams come true.
Dreams come true.
All right, Joe, I have a question for you. Why does a person of color always have to die first?
There are a lot of tropes in this movie that we could get into, but I really wish I knew. And to be honest, they were kind of like non-binary. So let's just really twist that knife. That was a beautiful Asian they them that got torn open.
So, if you don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about Alien Romulus, which takes place in between Alien and Aliens. Great movie.
It was fantastic.
It was solid 8. I'll give it a solid 8.
No, true to form. I think that it definitely revitalized a lot of things. What I think is most interesting about it is it took the old and it took the new and combined them together to make something actually interesting. Because I think that was the biggest thing with Prometheus and Alien Covenant was that they felt a little disconnected, which they were supposed to feel disconnected, especially after Aliens 3 and Alien Resurrection. But I do think that it was just a great way that brought so much almost the lore to it in a way. And it definitely got it. But let's get into it. So
kind of the synopsis of the movie, you have a kid named Rain, who is on this minor planet, and she's been working like a slave. Her parents are dead. And all she has is this cyborg, which is Andy synthetic, robot, I guess that's what they call it in there.
Her dad found him.
Yes.
And his prime directive is to always do what's right for Rain.
Yes. And so one of her friends, Tyler, comes up to her and is like, hey, there's a floating ship just above us right now. And we could go up there and they have some capsules where we could all just go to cryo sleep.
Yeah.
Cryo sleep, and then we could go to the next planet.
And we'll be free, because the inciting incident of this movie is Rain. She has been working on this planet. Her parents working on this planet. They all work in the mines. She works in agriculture, and she gets to a certain age. She works a certain amount of hours for her contract. She goes up to the people and she's like, "Hey, I need my travel papers. I've done the length of my contract.
They double that bitch."
And they said, "Oh, actually,
we got to double that.
Uno reverse and then at +2, because they said, and not only are you forced to stay, they're like, oh, all of our contracts have been doubled. So going from 12,000 hours to 24,000 hours, and telling her, so you'll be finished in about 5 to 6 years and you're going to go work in the mines.
Yeah. So she's like, fuck, I really don't want to do this. I don't think we should go up here, but it's a scary horror movie, so we have to go.
And the main reason that they're bringing her and Andy is because Andy is a synthetic who has the capabilities to open certain areas of the ship, turn it on, because they got a ping and they basically was like, oh, there's like nothing in here. We just need to go in, grab it. It's just a defunct station. Like it's been decommissioned. It'll be fine. We'll be in and out in 30 minutes, which I love when a horror movie is like.
I love when they always say, "Oh, it would take only 30 minutes." Bullshit.
I love
Nothing
it so
takes
much.
30 minutes. My shits don't take 30 minutes. Like,
Okay, well, okay, you need to go to a doctor.
I've been to the doctor, so
And they love my shit.
yes. And so again, story. They go up to the ship, which turns out to be the original ship from
Yes.
Alien.
So, so it wasn't the original ship from Alien. So what happened was the Weyland-Yutani company went and found the original alien in that ship and then brought it onto this place for research because it was the Romulus and the Remus. That was the whole thing. That it was like a big space station basically. And where people could live, and it was a big lab up in the sky, which we find out later. But they brought the alien from the original movie and they thought it was dead, and then they learned pretty quickly it was not.
And so they all get in there and they're just snooping around. Nothing's going. Nothing's moving. And, of course, they push something. And then the rest.
They turned that bitch on, and everything just started getting warmer. And it turns out that this entire station was a purely Weyland-Yutani structure specifically for finding and experimenting on these alien species. And surprise, surprise, they found it in shambles for some reason and didn't really know what to do. And
shit happens.
I'll tell you what, the face huggers in this movie were horrifying to me.
They've never been this scary.
They amped that shit up because I truly think that one of the most horrifying things about the Alien franchise is the face huggers.
Yeah, no, fuck the xenomorph. Like, when they get on you and then
and that's the thing is like you've always kind of seen it, but like I feel in this movie they really wanted to hit home about the body horror of it all because I mean if people don't know this, but like the face huggers themselves are a big allegory for sexual assault.
All right. Okay.
Ridley Scott, like that, he said that. Like a lot of it is, and one of the reasons that in the first movie in Alien that it was a man that got implanted was because he wanted men to know the horrors of one, being sexually assaulted, and two, the process of like having to birth something out of that. And that's why it's so violent, it's so bloody, it's so gory. It's all about gestation and all that stuff.
That's why we do it to an Asian non-binary person.
Because it was just I mean that part in general, but I mean, the visuals of this movie were insane.
I think the visuals, it still felt older. It still had that kind of like 80-ish kind of vibes, but definitely revamped for the 2020s. And I thought the ship crashing was beautiful. I thought a lot of the scenes. I thought the outer space, just them being outer space, like it is dead silent, and then all of a sudden you just hear. I thought the sound effects, the visual effects.
Well, and that part was crazy because and I mean, they talk about like the tagline for Alien is like, no one in space, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah.
And like they played that up to crazy levels, but I mean, that one girl that was pregnant, who played Dora the Explorer.
Yeah. Range.
I laugh so hard with all the tweets basically saying they're like, damn, Dora's going through it.
She really explored. She's
exploring now. But like that scream that she did, horror movie icon immediately. Like I want her in 10 more horror movies just for that scream alone. To be honest, she wasn't like in the movie that much. Yeah. So like I would love to see more horror out of her. I think she was fantastic.
So what do you think about the main character, Rain? I thought that she played
because it's Kaylee Spurney, right?
Yeah.
I think she did fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that she played the protagonist of that movie very well. I think, and here's the thing that's interesting about Alien and the whole franchise is it is, even Alien versus Predator, it's about women. Like,
yeah.
It's about like people like overcoming, being stronger, figuring it out, and being smarter about things.
All right, but I'm going to be honest though. Going to be honest. That bitch should have died multiple
Oh no,
times.
Andy kept her alive.
Oh my god.
Andy definitely kept her alive.
That's the one thing about like horror movies. I just be watching. There's one scene in this movie where the xenomorph, it's like multiple xenomorphs. And like I'm just like, have they not got her yet? Like when they're going down that hallway, I'm just like, why are they not getting her right now?
Well, and like even when they were like, it was her and then the main guy, and they're sitting there, and like the other girl is on the other side of the pregnant girl's on the other side of the ship, and they're like, Andy, open the door, and he goes, but there's like an alien right there.
Yeah. No, I actually think David. First of all, is that the David Johnson that I knew and grew up with? He was like short and everything like that. No, Andy. I think Andy was my favorite character.
Oh, for sure.
He played the hell out of his role. Like he was like a malfunctioning android, and then gets that new chip, and then he's like, "Oh no, we're gonna."
When his eyes roll back into his head. So what's interesting about it is I saw a lot of people online saying that this movie had no message like the other Alien movies. I don't know what fucking movie they're talking about, because a moment I'm talking about specifically, his eyes roll back into his head and you see the Wayland Corporation logo on the underside of his eyes. Yes. And if you don't understand, like, and I truly think that like people talk about media literacy all the time, but if you didn't understand that this was a very anti-colonial, anti-corporation, like that's what this movie was. That's what these movies have been.
Because again, the corporation will always put themselves over you.
Well, and that's the thing, is his prime directive changes when he gets the chip. I'm not going to say what its new prime directive is, but it wouldn't be hard to figure out.
Yeah, I think this was a fantastic movie. Horror wise, where would you?
I mean, I think it was really good in horror in the sense that like I was tense the whole time, and they did have those payoff moments.
They did, yes.
And that's the thing, is like I was tense, but then it was, and bam, a face hugger like pops out and starts tonguing the glass. Like
what do you think about the xenomorph of this one?
I think the xenomorph. So I feel like they upped the xenomorph a lot.
Yes.
Like there were a ton of them, and there's this one scene in it where I'm not gonna get into it, but she basically has to fight all these xenomorphs, and what happens in it, I thought that was really cool, where they were like,
yeah,
and you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you've seen it, if you haven't, we'll talk later and put it in the comments.
So my thing is, the xenomorph is supposed to be just the ultimate
killing machine.
Yes. And I truly think out of all the Alien movies I've watched, I think this one kind of like really, it showed that it's smart. It's not dumb. It's not just let me just go kill. It's also smart. It's a great movie. It's a really good movie. I would easily watch it again and again and again. Like,
how do you feel? We're not going to talk about it too much, but how do you feel about that ending? Because I feel like that was a whole message in itself.
No, I thought it was a perfect ending.
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah,
I lived. You told me you haven't seen Alien Resurrection.
No, I watched the first 20 minutes. Yeah.
And why didn't you keep going?
When she came back to life, I was like, what are we doing?
Oh my God, that's like the whole thing. Yes,
I
you're
know
correct.
that's the whole thing.
It's called, what is it called, Jordan?
Again.
What's the name of the movie?
I thought the alien was coming back.
How would it have come back when the queen was dead in her belly?
Oh.
How would it have how would you resurrect it? But no, I do think it's interesting, because I feel like this movie, Alien Romulus, took a lot of themes from Alien Resurrection and made them better, and it took stuff from,
it made more sense.
It made more sense. And the stuff from like Alien, which I'm a little pissed off at some horror and sci-fi fans, because when Prometheus and Alien Covenant came out, people dogged that shit. They said it was awful, blah, 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 blah. We hate Michael Fassbender. And
I like Michael Fassbender.
Everyone's
in that
bitching.
movie.
I do too.
Yeah.
I love those movies. I felt like I was alone for years.
Did not love those movies.
I love those movies, and I felt like I was alone for years. And then now all of a sudden this movie comes out, and people, like, I've heard so much bitching about this movie and being like, Alien Covenant was better. And I'm like, what are you talking
Who
about?
bitched about this?
Oh, I saw a bunch of people complaining about it. It was
All right, so here's my final take. If you don't like this movie, you just don't like aliens, and you can just go fuck off.
that part.
Yeah.
I mean, but there are also those fans, because I saw two different camps. It's like there's two different kinds of Alien fans. It's the people who liked Alien and people who like Aliens. I like them both. And I take them as for what they were.
I think Aliens is a better movie, but I like Alien. Like, Alien's a great movie.
But there are a lot of people who don't feel that way, and they thought Alien was boring. Which
I could get why some people think Alien's boring. I can get it.
I can like see that, because it does take a while to get to like that stuff. But we have to remember that like at the time it was new. They had to do it slowly.
Yes, and so and I think. Because,
and two different directors, Ridley Scott and James Cameron.
Yeah.
Very different.
And I think also this movie had a slower beginning, because that just for them just to get on to that ship, it took almost 30 minutes.
But then the second stuff started going, it was non-fucking stop. When those things started falling out into the water, I was just like, I was sitting there just like, because I know what's going to happen. And when that motherfucker, he takes that like cattle prod and shoves it into that giant alien ussy.
It was. Yeah, no.
He's just in there going, and then the alien ussy fought back.
So here is just a tip. If your friends are ever like, hey, let's go somewhere, it will only take 30 minutes. Do not go. You will die.
Well, and especially if space is involved, like,
fuck that shit.
If you are ever in a scenario where a friend is like, you know what we should do?
Let's go to space.
Let's go to space.
Unless I'm getting high as hell, I'm good.
Girl, unless you're like, not even for Elon Musk. Like,
oh.
I'm not going to space. I'm not going deep diving. I will be on a boat on the top of the ocean with all the oxygen I need.
You want to go deep diving?
I'm not going to the Titanic. I'll go in a submarine.
No. Oh, I'm not going to a submarine. I'm just like me with my oxygen tank, just trying to swim.
Oh, that's different. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm not. Fuck no.
I said I'd go in a submarine, like a military submarine.
Nope.
I would do that. They got their shit together. I've met military submarine people.
I understand they got their shit together, but if one shit is just not together, then we're all fucked.
No. I've like hung out with them and saying they're fine.
Yeah. You white, that's why. All right, for this next one, I want to get a little cozy.
Yeah,
okay?
that was rough. Those aliens throating people.
Yes, the drama from Love Island. I just need to watch something that just makes me feel, okay, let's be honest. We all watch TV that we actually don't watch.
Yes.
Okay? Like, it's like, oh, it's playing in the background, and I might chime in a little bit here and a little bit there. I'm on my phone, or I'm eating something, and or we're just talking over. Those are your cozy shows. The shows that you're like, fuck, it's been a long day of work. I just need to lay down, relax, and just switch it off.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, what's one of your favorite cozy shows?
So one of my favorite cozy shows that I'm like watching right now is CSI, Crime Scene Investigation. Yeah. I have been watching the show in and out in spurts for years. I've really picked up lately in the past few months. I'm on like season 16. I don't even know how many seasons there are, because
16.
Dude, they rebooted it at some point, which is really interesting because I grew up watching CSI, and that's why it makes it a comfort show.
Do you watch any of the other CSIs?
No.
What?
Yeah, that's what makes it a comfort show. So for me, CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, Las Vegas, like whatever iteration we want to talk about, like those are all the same show. I watched that one on Thursday nights as a kid. Every night, 8 p.m. It was usually on after Survivor.
No, yeah.
And so for me, it's like going back to that place. So like I have a specific feeling about Gil Grissom, Sarah Seidel, Nick Stokes, like Catherine Willis.
You know they'll keep you safe.
Exactly. And like I know they'll keep me safe, but like trust these characters. I probably would like CSI Miami, CSI New York, those other shows, but like it's not those characters, and those characters are what makes it comfy for me. I want Gil Grissom telling me everything's going to be okay. I want to see like Greg trying his hardest. I want Nick and Warwick to protect me because I know they would. And like for me, that's kind of what makes a comfort show is you get in with the characters.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. My dad still like watches it. I like back in the day when we only had cable boxes in like a couple rooms, and it was just like, hey, you know what you're doing? You're going to sit right here. You're going to watch whatever the fuck I want to watch. And then you just get into it.
That's like for real. I was watching Dahmer and Greg, but a lot of my comfort shows are from that era specifically like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is my big one. Like that's truly my biggest like go-to. However, I always tell my friends if I'm watching the Buffy the Vampire Slayer and
don't talk to me.
Well, it's more of a I am in a depressive episode and I am trying to feel something and I know this works. Which, comfort show or like take it for what you will, but that show is always like just a pure comfort. It's teenagers, it's drama, it's vampires. It gets some heavy subjects, but like even the villains are interesting. Spike, Glory, Drusilla, like those.
So those are your two? Those are your
I
two
think
big ones?
those are my two big ones. But then I also always need like a cartoon to go to.
Ooh, what is your go-to cartoon?
So that's the thing is like I don't necessarily need like it has to be a specific show. Right now, I'm like kind of going back and watching cartoons that like I didn't really watch as a kid, namely Dragon Ball.
Woohoo! My boy is watching anime.
It's my first time ever watching it. I understand why boys my age acted like that.
Yeah.
Now, like,
yes.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's why they were doing that? Because I didn't watch Dragon Ball. I just didn't. I don't know why. I watched Sailor Moon. I did not watch Dragon Ball growing up.
Well, because when that time came out, Dragon Ball Z started.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they would replay Dragon Ball, but it was mostly we're starting with Dragon Ball Z and just going.
I mean, a lot of people did, from what I've read, because I was like trying to research like how to watch this. A lot of people did watch in America. They watched Dragon Ball Z first, and then they went back and watched Dragon Ball, which is crazy because I'm sitting here and I'm watching it for the first time, and I know that like Goku's like the OP character or whatever. This is some fucking kid with a tail, and I'm gonna have to,
Goku doesn't get OP until like
at some point,
way later.
At some point, and that's when I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, so this is about to be a journey, but it's really fun and it's cute and it's
Journey
like,
to the West. It's based off of Journey to the West.
But interesting. But it's just like I need something to like turn my brain off at night. There are times where I like watch The Dragon Prince, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra.
Now, see, okay,
those are comfy shows.
My comfort show, I would say for cartoon wise, is Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
I can watch Avatar nonstop all day, every day, and Korra. If you don't like Korra, you don't understand good TV.
Yeah.
Korra is good. It's great. Because first of all, if you think Korra's not good, then what the fuck is the first season of Avatar? Like, let's be honest. There's a lot of...
Let's get into that.
Yes. Like, Avatar first season, they didn't know if they're going to get a second season. So a lot of that's just filler episodes.
To be honest, I think that with Korra, she explored a lot of avenues of the Avatar lore that a lot of people were mad that a woman was doing this. And I truly believe that a lot, like, I don't know how to say this. There are a lot of men who just cannot empathize with a woman in this situation. And it's crazy. Like, they just can't do it. And those are the haters.
And that's some people like for Star Wars. With
Rey. Like they're just like the chosen one can never be a girl because they can't relate to that. And I find that so interesting. We're getting into some deep topics.
Jesus and our Lord Savior.
We're getting into some deep topics.
But anyway, so yeah, so I would say Aang, just watching Aang and the gang is one of my comfort shows. Actual like live TV, I would probably say Schitt's Creek.
Ooh,
Schitt's Creek.
That's such a good. I should have said. I've actually been like I want to go back. I'm trying to time it right when the seasonal affective disorders kicks in. When my aunt passed away, it was like Schitt's Creek hadn't come out on Netflix yet, but the season had already aired.
Yeah.
I paid $30 to watch that because
Never.
my aunt had just died, who I lived with and
I
loved,
understand.
and I needed that comfort. That's what I'm saying. Is like the only thing that was gonna like make me happy in that moment was paying $30 to watch new Schitt's Creek episodes.
$30, wild. But Schitt's Creek is great. It's funny. It's cozy, but it's not over the top at all. Brilliant writing. It is. Well, and it's one of those shows that like I think will definitely stand the time.
It truly does create a world where it's so insular in the fact that like these people are just trying to live their lives, and there's not any kind of and I've heard Dan Levy talk about this in the fact that like we wanted to create a world where like your problems are their own. You don't have to deal with the racism, the bigotry. Like they didn't make that a part of the show. No, they didn't. And they actually made it almost like a little too liberal. It got like, like when Stevie and I'm blanking, David got into like that thing with that bi guy.
Oh yeah,
and it was almost like
fighting over him.
Yeah, it was all, but they weren't really fighting over him. They were just like really confused. But no one ever like got mad. And that's the thing is like there was a constant understanding of like grace, and that's what I really like about that show.
Yeah, it's very comforting. It's very just easy to like digest and stuff like that. Like I said, Avatar is my favorite cartoon. I would say for anime wise, to be honest, anime the genre is like my go-to comfy because there's just a lot of anime out there that I just haven't watched.
I've never seen. Yeah,
no.
I honestly, and that's kind of where I've gotten with Dragon Ball is because I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I haven't really gotten an anime. I've dabbled here and there, but I'm not like a weeb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like. And I enjoy some anime. So I was like, what was the start that like all of the people that I know when I was a kid that really liked anime?
It's Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z.
They all started with Dragon Ball Z. I started with Dragon Ball, which like to my chagrin, but I'm 21 episodes in.
I don't know. I don't think that's because again, you see where Goku's coming from.
Exactly.
You're going to meet a couple of characters that stay like for the entire time.
Like Krillin, he's such a little shit.
Oh, Krillin.
But no, like exactly. Like I'm trying
there's going to be a couple things that happen in Dragon Ball Z that you're going to actually feel, because there's one point where it's just like, oh snap, something happens, but I'm only like 20 episodes into Dragon Ball Z, so you're like, it doesn't really. But if you watch all of Dragon Ball and then something happens in Dragon Ball Z to a character from Dragon Ball, you're like, no, I just watched like 200 episodes and like, oh my God, I actually do care and do feel this. But like anime as like in general, again, I'm never going to like stray off like the mainstream anime path, because that's when shit gets really weird.
Oh no, no, like absolutely not. I need Funimation.
Yes. Actually, RIP, they're gone.
Aww.
Yeah, they got bought out by Sony, who owns Crunchyroll. So yeah. But anyway,
guys, we need to stop monopolies. Like, I don't understand.
My comfy anime though, like if I had to choose one that I could just go back and just watch, I would say like right now it's One Piece, because there's 12. We're at 1,200 episodes now. 1,200.
How is that comforting for anyone?
It's 1,200 deep. And I'm enjoying the ride still.
I'm waiting for them to do the One Piece Kai. Like I need the abridged version.
Again, there's one pace. I will send you the link.
We just never have.
Okay, I'll send you the link literally today.
Well, I'm not gonna watch it today.
I know you're not gonna watch it ever. Like,
well, I'm gonna watch it once I'm done with Dragon Ball. Once I'm done with Dragon Ball Z Kai, because I'm not gonna do that with another shit.
You don't have to watch Dragon Ball GT.
Well, I'm going to, because I'm committed at this point. I'm already 21 episodes in, and I'm liking it so far. What's really fun about it is like it goes back to that old like 80s cartoon style, and like that's what's comforting for me.
Yes.
It's these like funky landscape with these weird ass characters, and for all I can tell, it's like alien magic. Like
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's just like a hodgepodge of like action, aliens, and magic because like I don't know.
The thing is,
it doesn't explain.
The thing is, Dragon Ball does not take itself too seriously.
No, exactly.
And that's what makes it perfect.
But yeah, so it's a fun little comfy show. But I don't know.
But One Piece, because again, there's so many episodes, there's so many amazing arcs. But like my number one favorite anime of all time is Naruto. I can watch Naruto all day, every day, anytime. So you know how like the Facebook algorithm will make you watch whatever it wants you to watch?
Yeah.
My algorithm is nothing but like Naruto fights. And I'm just like chilling and like I just see like a fight and it's like 23 minutes and I'm like, yep, I'm watching this entire fight right now.
Your Facebook and my Facebook are
100% different. Yes.
Very different.
That's because I don't go on Facebook.
No.
The only time I go on Facebook is just to watch anime like clips.
The only time I go on Facebook is because somebody sends me a screenshot of something stupid someone said and I see 87 comments. I'm like, well, I want to go see what all those comments say.
Yeah. No, so I would say if I had like a serious comfy show, that I could just rewatch it like anytime, it's Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones is a comfy show for me because I can like sit down, I will put on a cover and I can just watch. I kid you not, I have seen the first season of Game of Thrones 13 times. 13 times.
That's crazy.
Okay. I finished the whole thing 4 times. And my wife wants to rewatch it, and it's just a struggle for me to be like, yeah, let's rewatch Game of Thrones because like trying to watch the first season for the 14th time is.
You know what I've started doing is when I've been going back to shows because another big problem I have is like I watch the first season and then kind of fall off of like my comfort feels.
Yeah,
I'll just start it at the second season on various shows. Like if I'm like wanting to go back, I'm like I know what happens in the first season. I don't need to like.
I feel like that's what everybody does for The Office. Is like when people watch The Office, they just skip the first season.
Yeah, and nobody told me because then I finally tried to watch The Office and I watched the first season and
Same.
I sat there
and I said nope.
I was like, this is awful. No. I don't know what these people are talking about, and apparently it gets better later. But you know what? I don't have that kind of time.
The thing about The Office, it's
because
just
that's a lot of people's comfy show.
I've watched. It's a ton of people's comfy show. When I watch The Office, though, it's just not. It just don't hit. Like, there's a couple funny moments here and there, but like it just doesn't hit like it.
But I think
for other people,
I think it's more about the characters, and a lot of these people grew up with that, and I think that's really what makes a comfy show is you get really invested in the characters, and it's like going back and hanging out with friends you haven't seen in a while.
And that's why Game of Thrones is my comfy show because they all die.
That's why Buffy the Vampire Slayer is my comfy show because a lot of them die.
Yeah, tell us what's your favorite comfy show? What's the show that you go back to? You can just turn on at any point. But that's gonna be the end of our show. I'm Jordan,
and I'm Joe,
and this is Double Trouble Features.